Happy Halloween, mortals! Fall is one of my favorite times of year, and for good reason. The weather's starting to cool off, the leaves are really pretty, and I can be a gluttonous candy fiend in a socially acceptable setting. What's not to love? Something that goes hand in hand with fall, however, are Halloween-themed movies, and specifically within that, horror movies. Each October, the box office is flooded with brand new horrific monstrosities of whatever today's filmmakers can think of, which oftentimes just tends to be old rehashed shit. Every now and again, however, something really special happens. An invaluable project graces our presences, whether that's in the movie theater or from the comfort of your own home. I'm talking bad movies. Now look, not every single film made is meant for the Oscars, but there's a select few that don't even try to make it there in the first place. They're just bad on purpose. That is especially the case with 2015's Helen Keller vs. Nightwolves, a film by Ross Patterson. IMDb describes the film as the true story that government didn't want you to know about, how Helen Keller really lost her eyesight and hearing. Nightwolves. My friends and I stumbled on this movie one night, completely on accident while we were drinking apple juice, and as soon as I watched it, I knew I had to spread the good word of Ross. So buckle up and prepare to have your socks knocked off, because I watched the worst horror movie ever, so you don't have to. Helen Keller vs. Nightwolves opens up as all movies do, with an ad break. That's right, not even 0 seconds into the free on YouTube film, we're hit with an advertisement, and in this case, it's for a book titled At Night She Cries While He Rides His Steed, a book by Ross Patterson, the director of the movie. Anyways, the ad finishes, and we're met with an interesting character named St. James Street James, who is also conveniently played by Ross Patterson, the director. He once again plugs his book.
The film you're about to see tonight was shot immediately after the release of my best-selling novel.
And then prepares the audience to watch the
greatest film you'll ever see in your entire life.
Now, if you couldn't tell by now, the performances are not top-notch.
Beaters!
We'll touch more on that later, but for now we're being thrown into the opening credits of the movie with a rock song about Helen Keller. Now, I don't know how much of the song I can play without YouTube DMCA policies destroying my bloodline, so instead I'd like to do a dramatic reading of a few of the most moving lyrics, if that's alright. Helen Keller. She can't fucking hear you. Put your motherfucking hands up. She can't see those either. She'll turn your wolf dick inside out. After that beautiful serenade, we're thrown headfirst into the movie, which opens with a grandmother version of Helen Keller telling a story to her grandkids.
Jane loves Dick. She really loves Dick.
Like I said, the performances are the best part of this movie. It's only the finest acting. It really is special. Anyways, we flash back to Alabama in the year 1910, and keep that in mind because it's going to play an important role later. Immediately, 3 things have come to my attention. First, in the span of 2 seconds, we have cut between 4 different shots. I didn't edit this footage any differently. That is just how rapid fire these cuts are. Second, this movie looks like shit. Now, maybe you can credit it as Patterson going for an old-fashioned look with the whole 1910 setting, but half the movie doesn't even look like it's been color graded, and the moments where it has looked like it's been color graded, shots are mismatched, and it's all very jarring. And third, the movie just sounds terrible.
Oh, you're not gonna get this, bitch.
While I was in college, one of my professors had a saying, where good audio can make up for bad video, but good video cannot make up for bad audio. And as it turns out, when you have both bad audio and bad video, it's a shit show. Who would have known? In the grand scheme of things, I'm being really nitpicky. This movie, again, is not trying to be good, and there was clearly a limited budget, but I just couldn't ignore it. The monkey brain went wee. But whatever, that doesn't matter. Back to the plot. Helen's mom and stepbrother William are carrying these logs up to make a fire for dinner, and after an interesting conversation about sexuality.
Is that sword from me, Father, because I'm gay?
No, son! We don't mind! That shit gay.
William decides to stop helping and leaves his mother to carry all of the logs. Now look, I understand that logs aren't the lightest thing in the world to carry. I mean, they ain't no Nintendo Switch, but Helen's mother is kind of hilarious in the scene on accident. She just looks like a baby learning motor skills for the first time, like she's still kind of struggling to pick things up and keep them in her grips. It's really adorable. All of a sudden, however, dramatic music comes in. The shot gets darker. Everything goes slow motion. That's right. It's the Nightwolves. Our first look at the Nightwolves is truly special. Over the course of watching this movie a few times over the last month, I've distinguished 3 different species of Nightwolves, and I think it's very important that you guys know these before you go into the movie. And keep in mind, there will be a quiz at the end of the video, so I hope you're taking notes. First off is the stock footage hound. Aggressive, flexible, and craving of more pixels on screen. Second is the $40 plush from Build-A-Bear. These are the nimblest of species, with powerful legs that let them pounce with ease. And we can't forget about the stock footage wolf with the dark Brandon filter over it. This is the Medusa of the Nightwolves, and it keeps me up at night. Wolves are jumping left and right, or more appropriately, being thrown in by the crew. Mom and Dad both get mutilated, and Anne, Helen, and Will all also get pretty fucked up. When the dust settles, Helen Keller is blind and deaf. I cannot make this up. She stumbles her way back to the house, and while she's fumbling around trying to find her way without sight or hearing, this guy pops up on screen. I have no clue who they are, but I'm mystified by their presence nonetheless, so I'm just gonna go with it. And as it turns out, after being mauled on screen, William is totally fine. Anne is also alive.
You ain't gonna believe this shit. I'm motherfucking blind too!
And while she did lose her sight, she still has her hearing, so she's gonna play an important role in helping to translate for Helen. Anyways, after eating some turkey for a while, the gang decides they're going to head into town and see if anyone else has heard about the Nightwolf attacks. And I gotta say, the scene of them walking into town is awesome. This whole scene, Anne looks like she's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting battle droids on Geonosis. It's wonderful. The gang makes their way to a diner, and this scene is just hilarious. It's like they didn't even try to have any sort of historical accuracy. Again, I know I'm being nitpicky, but let me play the footage. Everyone's wearing present-day clothing, there's modern technology in the dinner, but whatever. If I focus too hard on the historical accuracy, I think I'm going to give myself a hernia, so I'm just going to try to stop now. Now, the sheriff is at the diner too, and he spends a few minutes reassuring everyone that there's nothing to fear about the Nightwolves, and that they are just a one-time freak accident. That is, until a muffled hero speaks up in the back.
I think they'll be good about coming back.
And that muffled voice is homeless Nick Cage with an apple in his mouth. Homeless Nick Cage with an apple in his mouth keeps trying to talk about something, and because there's an apple in his mouth, obviously nobody can understand what he's trying to say. One woman mentions this to him, and he responds by spitting the apple out all over her. And then we get a bunch of moans playing in the background.
Don't talk when your mouth is full of apples.
When St. James Street James said he was a
Sexual provocateur.
I guess he really wasn't kidding. Side note, there's this whole interaction in the diner where everyone is just asking who Nick Cage is and what his purpose is in the story. And this interaction is so fucking funny. I'm just gonna play it on cut.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah, who the fuck are you, bro? Please tell me who you are! I can't take this shit!
A full 5 minutes after the Keller crew walks into the diner, they walk into the diner and enter the scene. And over the span of the next 2 minutes, the following things happen. Helen stumbles around and crashes into everything while trying to look for a pie. Helen's friends refuse to help her through all of this and let her struggle around. And on top of that, the entire diner spends the whole scene making insensitive Helen Keller jokes, which kinda is on brand for this movie, because when you think about it, the whole film is an insensitive Helen Keller joke.
She's blind!
On top of that, our clown friend from earlier makes another appearance. I'm still really not sure what their role is in this movie, but they seem to be having a good time, so as long as this bit isn't played out too much, I think it's okay. After being harassed enough by the patrons of the diner, the Keller crew decides to leave, but they're followed, this time by Nick Cage without an apple in his mouth. As it turns out, Nick Cage's real name is Jonathan, and his whole family was killed by the Nightwolves a while ago. He also mentions that Heller is some sort of a chosen one, who is the only possible person that could kill all the Nightwolves once and for all. William's completely ready to write off Jonathan.
Hit the bricks, fuckstick.
But Jonathan mentions an offer that William just can't refuse.
I got weed. Maybe you're right. We should let him help us.
William needs help. The Keller crew makes it back to their house to make a plan for the impending Nightwolf attack. But they never really make a plan. Anne teaches Helen to read lips, Jonathan and William get high off of an apple, and then everyone eats dinner together. And that's really about it. Everyone is very lax considering the dire circumstances Jonathan really talked about in the last scene. So whatever, it's not important. Dinner wraps up and Anne goes outside to get another beer. And I'm just going to warn you now, buckle up because things are about to get fucking crazy. So, as I mentioned, Anne just went outside to go get another beer. I know it's hard to tell because it looks like someone just put a blue color filter over a shot to make it look like it's nighttime. That's because someone just took a blue color filter and put it over a shot to make it look like it's nighttime. Thank you, video editor Dan Labonte, for not knowing how to color correct. You are doing a service to all of mankind. Anyways, there's a Nightwolf there because, of course there is, but Anne can't see that because she's blind. No, instead, she trips over a random tarp that was placed on the hill and falls down to the waiting jaws of a $40 Build-A-Bear. And to give the editor of this film some credit, any sort of color correcting was not going to save this scene. There's so much shaky cam in the shot that even Marvel Studios would have gotten a little motion sick watching this one. Regardless, Anne is getting brutally murdered, and as Helen and William run to save her, we jump cut back to our good buddy St. James Street James. Honestly, this guy feels more out of place than our clown friend from earlier. I don't know what purpose this guy serves besides plugging his book. Shit, I can't even blame him. I'd be doing that too. No, Dalton, stay on track. After Helen kills the wolf with the most basic default video filters that you could find online, she decides she's gonna go back to town. Alone, totally on her own. How'd she get there? Well, I hope you're ready to die without the answer to that question because I don't know. Helen goes back to the diner looking for the sheriff, and she finds out his location after harassing a few of the customers. But before she leaves, she drops a sick one-liner to show everyone she means business.
By the way, what's the difference between Helen Keller and a normal person that can hear and see? I'm not a fucking pussy.
Mere seconds later, Helen has manifested into the sheriff's office, and the sheriff takes her to a corkboard so she can feel the photos of every one of the Nightwolves victims. And they actually do this with a pretty cool storytelling technique. I was honestly really surprised, but Ross Patterson decided to use a motion graphic to illustrate this scene. Just watch this.
You can feel this, right?
At this moment, it becomes apparent as to why the rest of the movie looks like crap. It's because all the budget went into this scene. Amateur filmmakers, take notes. When Helen leaves the sheriff's office a few minutes later, it's with the conclusion that cops in the 1900s and modern day are just the same. Lazy and pig-like. With that in mind, Helen returns home, ready to take matters into her own hands. And so begins the Balboa training montage, complete with workout regimens, badass music, and a motivational narration that would make Obama shiver his timbers.
Amen, motherfuckers.
Hell yeah. Before our squad goes to battle, however, we gotta have dinner first. Obviously, you can't fight on an empty stomach. And just as a heads up, it's about to take a weird, fucked up left turn. So, socks on. So Jonathan and Helen are eating dinner together. I don't know where William is, and I'm not rewatching this again, so just kind of make up your own story on where he is, I guess. Jonathan mentions how proud he is of Helen before they kiss, and then they go to Helen's bedroom where they praise the Lord for a bit. In the midst of their worship, however, a random smoke machine goes off, and then the production crew comes on set and starts swarming everything. And then we cut to our second advertisement on the film. I can't make this up. I've looked into this, and I think it's just a real law agency that, sponsored this movie or something. Personally, I can't get the image of that one rival lawyer from Community out of my head when I look at this guy from Van Sant Lawyers. Call me crazy, but they just look identical to me. You can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. When we cut back to the movie, Sunday school is over, and the Nightwolves are getting ready to attack. William's on top of a hill with the shirtless saxophone guy. Either way, his job is recon. His job is to scout out when the wolves arrive, and he communicates that to Helen once they get there. Oh, and then he dies because the Nightwolves eat him. I'm for real. He's gone this time. He's dead. Bye, William. Helen and Jonathan begin to fight back, and while Jonathan goes down pretty quick, he gives her one last reminder before he dies to use all of her senses, not just the ones she has. Jonathan dies for good, and now it's down to just Helen to take out all the Nightwolves. Once again, it looks like Kevin Feige would have a panic attack watching this, but one thing is clear. Helen Keller is not going down without a fight. She cleaves down wolves left and right until there's only one left, and just when it looks like that wolf is gonna get the upper hand on her,
A fucking wolf is choking me like a human!
We got to have some law!
and that, my friends, was the first cop to do anything of value to society. And because the movie couldn't end without one more big reveal, William's alive. Now, allow me to put on the tinfoil hat for a bit. I don't know if William is a god from another world. I don't know if his bones are made with carbon fiber tubing. All I know is you can't kill Will. Anyway, the town celebrates Helen's triumph and the movie comes to a close. But not before one more Helen Keller rock song. At this point, my Spotify Wrap's gonna probably just show my top genre as Keller rock. Either way, movie's done. Movie's over, thank fucking God. So, end of the day, what's the verdict? Is Helen Keller versus Nightwolves that bad of a watch? No, I don't think so. Believe me, it's not good. The movie looks and sounds like shit. A lot of the jokes in it were outdated even for 2015 standards when it came out, and the performances make me feel like I need to be like swapping tabs when my parents come in. That's not to say this is an exclusively flawed movie though. There is an odd amount of charm to the movie, and honestly, I think most anyone can sit down and still have a good time with this. My personal recommendation, sit a bunch of friends down who just want to watch a bad movie. Don't tell them anything. Start playing this movie. I promise they'll have a good time, and I promise you will too. Hi everybody, I don't really know how to end this video, so I'm just going to kind of talk for a bit, because it's been a minute since I made one of these. I just want to say thank you all for all of the support on the channel. I kind of just started this as a hobby. I didn't think we'd get over like even 50 subs, and now we're 500 over that number. So I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is going to be like a consistent return with a weekly upload schedule or anything. Like, life is just sort of busy with like a full-time job and stuff like that. But you know, if I think of a cool video idea, maybe I'll make it. So hopefully I can get into some sort of a rhythm at some point. But you know, thanks for watching anyways. I have to go to work now, so I'm gonna go. You guys stay here, it's fine. Just once you leave, just like turn the lights off. You know, make sure the stove's not running, and lock all the doors, okay? So, yeah, thanks for watching again, I appreciate it.